Internet, and welcome to Buddy Reads with the purple-haired doofus. Today we are finishing our read-through of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Where to begin with this section? Let's just say this was the largest section that I read throughout this entire read-through, and this will probably be the shortest video, because not a lot happens. The section begins with Chris talking about how the existence of God isn't real. It's like, okay, fine. And then it goes back to his adventures on the train where he is stuck in luggage. And eventually the train reaches the end of the line and he has to get off in London. And he goes through the train station looking for a way to get to his mother's house. He goes to the information booth and he says, "How do I get to this address?" The guy is trying to sell him a map. And he doesn't understand at first that he's trying to sell him a map. So the guy gets really pissed off at him and tries to take the map back. There's this whole tete-a-tete thing. But eventually he gets out of the train station and has to go on the subway to his mother's place. He is sitting in the station waiting for the subway, and there's an advertisement on the post, and he spends like 3 pages describing the advertisement. I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of glossed over that section. It did not seem important to me. And it really wasn't, because the mystery was over, so I didn't have to know every single little detail. Eventually, he gets on the subway. He almost loses his rat on the subway and is stuck in the tracks. And some guy saves him, and he is like huddled in a ball because a guy grabbed him. And I know I'm supposed to sympathize with this character because he has these problems. But at this point, it's getting kind of ridiculous. But eventually he gets through the subway ride. He walks to his mother's place. He has to wait outside her apartment because her mother and Mr. Shears are not home. It's nearing midnight when they finally do get home, and she's like, "Oh my god." And she instantly hugs him, and he freaks out because he doesn't like to be touched. The mom invites him in to stay, and he has a wonderful dream because he believes this is the end of his journey. It's not. Chris wakes up in the middle of the night to Mr. Shears and his mother arguing with his father, who says, "I have a right to see him, blah, 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 blah." And these 3 adults are fighting, and he kind of barricades himself in his room. The story kind of fast forwards a lot. First, he tells his mother, "I have to go back to the town that I just left because I have to take my test for my higher education in math." Then his mom says, "No, you can't do that. We have to call the school and tell them that you'll do it next year." Then he freaks out, doesn't eat for like a week. Throughout this, his father is continuing to come by and pick him up, or attempt to pick him up, but she won't let him. And the thing is he is an incredible burden on her. And again, she is going through the same things that she was talking about in her letters, where she said, "I could not handle being your mother." And the more I read about this situation, the more distressing it is for every character involved. And you really, really kind of start to hate the parents. Eventually, Mr. Shears kicks the mother and Chris out of the apartment because he can't handle being with Chris. The mother and Chris go back to their old house and kick the father out of the house. The father says, "Okay, I'll stay with my friend / coworker for a couple weeks, but by the time I'm done staying with him, you have to be out of the house." She says, "Fine." And she gets a small little apartment. Chris stays with her. The only problem is she works until 5, school gets out at 3:30, and he has to stay at the house where the father is. But he doesn't talk with the father. And the whole thing is just kind of spiraling downward, and we're like 4 pages from the end. And it's like, how in the world is he going to end this? Because every situation is just getting worse and worse and worse. And after scrambling for like 30 pages, which in most books that wouldn't be much of a problem, but this book is only 220 pages. That's it. So if you're scrambling for 30 of that, that's a whole big chunk of that book. After scrambling for 30 pages, the dad comes back and he says, "You're going to have to learn how to trust me. So for 1 minute every day, you're going to trust me. And I've brought you a present." And the dad gives him a dog. Like that is going to fix everything that this dad had put him through. And Chris is so happy to have a dog. That's how the book ends. That's it. By the way, he passed his math test. I could not be more disappointed right now. Essentially, for me, the book ended at the beginning of the last section when the dad said, "I killed the dog." That's when the story was over for me. But I finished it for you, BookTube. I finished it for for you! Oh god. Well, my next video I have special plans. Special plans. Do not forget to like and subscribe this video if you did like it and want to see more. And hit that notification button so that you will be the very first to see my spoiler-free review where I do something very, very special, I hope. This has been Buddy Reads with the purple-haired doofus reminding you to watch up Gem Radius. And I will see you all in my spoiler-free review of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon.